It's that time of year. I've got a 12-pound turkey, and I'm going to be grilling it up on the Weber Kettle. Yes, we're going to be making a great turkey out on the Weber Kettle, grilling it up. We're going to put a little bit of wood with charcoal to get some smoke, but that's going to be tomorrow. Today we got to get this turkey ready because we're going to spatchcock it. If you don't know what that means we're going to remove the spine and flatten the bird out. Really helps it cook evenly, gets great heat all over, helps you get rid of that rubbery skin. And the reason we're doing it tomorrow is because we're going to put a dry seasoning on tonight, sort of a dry brine, and let it sit in the refrigerator overnight, help that skin dry out even more. So let's get our dry rub made right now. We're starting with a tablespoon of kosher salt, a tablespoon of cracked black pepper, a tablespoon of granulated garlic, and 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning. I'm going to get my lid on here and shake it up. There we go. Let's get that bird out here and get it ready. So here is our bird, 12-pound turkey. This is just a butterball turkey, nothing special. This is probably like the kind of turkey that, 80 or 90% of the people in the country are going to be cooking on Thanksgiving or Christmas or for holidays. You can go out and spend a lot more money on a better quality turkey, but you know what? I grew up on these turkeys. They tasted great when my mother made them, and we can make them taste great too. First thing we had to do is turn this guy over, and we're going to take out the backbone. We're just going to go up the sides here. Some good bone shears, bone scissors work well here. Turn it around here. You could save this, use this to make stock. It's perfect for that. All right, now what we're going to do is we need to basically break the breastbone here. One way to do that is to start on this side, press down, flip it over, get everybody spread out here, and really give this a good press down. You'll hear a crack. Because this is what we want. We want this bird to lay as flat as possible. We're going to go ahead and dry off the surface now. We're just taking a paper towels here, just getting the excess moisture off. We want a little bit to hold on to that rub we're going to be putting on. The underside is not really going to be that important here. We're concerned with the skin. Now, some people I know will reach up under the skin. They're going to rub that rub under there. I personally don't like to break the contact of that membrane here that holds the skin to the meat. I want the meat to kind of hang on when it's done, so when you cut it, you get some skin and some meat. So I just don't do that. Doesn't hurt. If you want to do that, go ahead. This is just the way I like to do it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get our rub on this bird. We're going to be generous here. Inside the wings, on the wings. Make sure you get the thighs, the drumsticks, everything. Really want to get this skin on the breast nice and coated. We're also going to be glazing this turkey probably about when it hits 120, 130 degrees internal. We'll be taking it to 165 internal, which is the safe temperature for poultry like this. Turn this around here. You can see there's a lot of moisture on the tray here. That's fine. We want to try and keep it off the dry portion of our bird, the skin. The main thing here is we want to get this skin dried out overnight. That helps along with the process of not having that rubbery skin. You won't always get super crispy skin, but it will cut nice, it'll bite nice, and it'll taste great. All right, so this bird's ready. It's going to go in the refrigerator on a rack that'll lift it up so there's good air circulation. It's going to stay there overnight, and tomorrow we're going to put it out on the Weber Kettle. So our turkey has been in the refrigerator overnight in that dry brining rub with those great seasonings. And now we're going to get it out on the Weber Kettle. But first, 2 things we have to get done. We need to get the glaze done that's going to go on the turkey closer to the time it's getting done. And we need to make an injection because we're going to be injecting this bird in the breasts before we get it out there. So let's start with the glaze. Super simple. We have half a cup of honey here. And to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. Pick your favorite barbecue sauce. Since we're grilling this bird today, we want to give it a little bit of barbecue flavor. And it takes a little time when you're mixing in with honey, very thick. Got to work those looser ingredients in. Now the barbecue sauce I chose has more of a sort of a beer flavor to it, so it's going to be a great match with the sweetness of the honey. Sort of going to complement each other. Let's see how that tastes. That's good. That's going to be a perfect glaze for this bird. All right, let's move on to our injection. Also, very simple injection. Now here you can use anything you want that's a standard injection. I'm going to be making my own today. I'm starting with half a cup of avocado oil, and I'm just pouring everything into this little glass jar. It's going to make it easy to mix up. Next, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. I think we can get rid of the funnel now. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of the same barbecue sauce that I'm using in the glaze. Finally, 2 teaspoons of a barbecue rub. Now I'm choosing one that has a little bit of spice, not too much. And what you really want to use here is something with a really fine grind on it. You don't want big pieces that are going to get stuck in the injector needle. Just going to put my lid on. We're going to shake this up. Kind of like making a salad dressing here. It's looking good. Oh, it smells good. All right, let's get that bird out here and inject it. All right, so here is our turkey. Nice and dried out overnight in the refrigerator with our dry brine seasoning on there. And as I inject here today, I'm just injecting the breast, not the thighs and the legs. They generally have more fat, a lot more juice in there, but the breasts can sometimes end up dried out a bit. So I'm going to inject them, but I don't want to go through the skin because I don't want to create penetrations where that liquid's going to come back out and then get the skin all moist again. So I'm just going to go straight through at this end. I have my pan turned sideways so you can get a better angle as I inject this. And we didn't make a lot of injection today because we don't really need a lot. We're just doing these 2 breasts here. I'm going to start way down at one end, push, pull back, and go a little lower. And this is just, like I said, to add a little bit more moisture, a little bit more fat in there. That avocado oil is nice. Pretty neutral. It'll take a lot of the flavor that you give it. Get our other breast here. Way down deep in there. It's interesting, someone in a comment watching an older video of mine where I injected a turkey said, hey, isn't it standard in competition to use a certain gauge needle? And I said to him, you know, I don't know, I don't do competitions. I've never done competitions. I don't think I'd be very good at competitions. You know, those guys have some mad skills and, you know, I'm just a dude who likes to cook. That's it. We are all injected. Let's fire the Weber Kettle up and get this bird on. All right, as you can see, I have the Weber Kettle set up with slow and sear. You could just as easily do this with briquette baskets or some indirect zone. I just decided to do it this way today. Now before we get the turkey on here, I'm going to put some vegetables down. They're going to kind of support the turkey, but going to serve a second purpose. I'm going to use these later on in making a turkey soup. So it's going to be for the stock. This will go in there and then get taken out. I want to get these all grilled up underneath the turkey today. Now I don't have any water in the slow and sear reservoir. I don't want to add any more moisture here. All right, let's go ahead and get our turkey on. We're going to go with our legs and thighs towards the heat source. Get my temperature probe in the breast here. That's looking good. That's showing 36 degrees right there. We got it in cold spot. I'm going to go ahead and put some apple wood in here today for some smoke. Just a little bit of smoke. And we are ready to get our lid on and get smoking. So my top and bottom vents are at about 2/3 on the Weber Kettle today. I want to try and get that temperature in the 275 to 300 degree range. 300 would be the most preferable, right up there. Now we're going to be grilling this turkey to 165 degrees internal. That's the safe temperature for poultry. But at about 120, 130 degrees internal, that's when we're going to glaze it. So I'll bring you back when it's time to glaze this bird. All right, we are near 130 internal. I decided to let it go higher instead of 120. So we're at 128.9 right now. It's time to glaze this bird. That is looking delicious. Let's get some glaze on this bird. So you can have some pale spots here where the skin has been pressed together, and now as it's cooking, things are relaxing and it's coming apart there. Get some glaze on there, that should color up nicely. And I can feel this skin is nice and crispy right now. Now you don't have to glaze this, but I like glazing the turkeys, get some great flavor on there, some great color. And once I get this on here, I'm going to choke the vents down a bit because I don't want the temperature to race up. We're letting a lot of oxygen in here right now. Got a lot of sugar in this glaze. Don't really want to burn it. So we want to bring that temperature down. So I'm going to choke the bottom vent down to about 1/3, top vent down the same, about 1/3. All right, that's looking good. I'm going to put one more little piece of apple on here to get a little bit more smoke. Now let's get our lid on and let this bird finish up. I'm going to choke those vents down, and I'll bring you back when we hit 165 internal. All right, we just hit 165 internal. Let's take a look at this bird. Looking good with that nice mahogany color. You can see right here still we have a little bit of paleness. Probably what I should have done is I should have put the onions directly under the main cavity here so that would lift up, the legs would hang down a little bit. That way this would have been exposed to the heat more, but I don't think it's going to hurt the taste at all. Now I just want to do a couple quick confirmation temperature checks here, and that's showing 178, so I'm happy with the thighs. Just going to do a quick check on this breast. Yeah, that's 165. All right, we are good. Let's go ahead and get our turkey off. And I'm going to be gentle here because I want to try and keep it all in one piece until we carve it. Remember, I have all these vegetables here that I want to save to make the stock. All right, we're going to get everything inside, let that turkey rest for about 20-25 minutes, and then we'll have a taste. All right, here is our finished bird. Now with that glaze on there, you're going to get this really dark mahogany color on here. And I got to say, this skin looks really good. In fact, this little piece right here, I'm going to do a cheat kind of taste here. Let's take our knife. I want to cut this little piece of skin because it just looks so delicious. Now I'm going to have a taste of this real quick. That's really good. Oh, I just love it when the skin really gets the flavor. That dry brining rub really helps to dry it out, and that glaze at the end just sets the flavor. But you know what? Let's break this down. I want to get the leg quarter off, and I want to cut into some breast meat so we can have a taste of that. I'm just going to bring this wing back just like that and move them out of the way there. And get down in here, separate this leg quarter. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and cut some thigh meat right now. Oh yeah. Look at that. I've said it many times, chicken, turkey, whatever, the thigh meat is my favorite. All that fat in there, all that flavor. Look at that. Let's get some slices of our breast meat. All right, I'm just going to take this big hunk off here. You can see the juice. Look at that. We have a juice-a-lanch. Oh yeah. Little pieces of skin coming off here. I'm going to cut some of this breast right here. I just love it when it turns out you get exactly the doneness you want, exactly the skin you want, the flavor. Well, I got to tell the flavor inside first. That little taste of skin was great, but let's move on now because it's time to taste. And I'm just going to dive in right here. Let's see. This is some of that breast meat. Oh man, that's good. That injection really helps. Get some of that extra fat and flavor in there. Getting it right to that 165 helps. And again, this is just a normal Butterball store-bought turkey. Nothing special. I think it was like $1.50 a pound or something like that. Now, you can definitely pay a lot less for a turkey at this time of year, but sort of in the mass-produced turkey, that $1.50 a pound for a butterball seems pretty standard. Move up from that, you're paying, $4 or $5 a pound for something a little more, free-range, organic, things like that. And then even up, $10, $15 a pound for some of those, heritage turkeys, which I've never had, but I don't know, this tastes darn good to me. All right, it's thigh meat time. I'm not waiting anymore. Here we go. No extra injection there, just the rub and the glaze on the skin. You don't need it in the thighs if you're cooking it properly. All that fat, all that flavor is there. Now, you're not going to hurt anything if you do, say, an overnight brine, a wet brine with turkey. That's going to help. You could inject the thighs. That's going to give you more flavor. But if you don't have the ability to brine or to inject, you can get just amazing results just by cooking to the right temperature. Thighs will tolerate a little bit higher. I know some people like to cook them beyond 165, and generally that's okay with me. If I go to 175, that's fine. And I think these probably ended up after resting somewhere in that 175 range. And for me, that's fine, and this is terrific. Total cook time on this was about 3 hours. I think I could have shaved about 30 or 45 minutes off of that if the kettle temp had stayed a little higher. I wanted it closer to 300. It wanted to stay closer to 275, 280. The slow and sear really likes that 275 range, and that's okay. It just took a little bit longer, and it's a little bit cooler today, so opening the vents didn't really pump the temperature up that much. I think we got as high as 290, but what are you going to do? Sometimes you got to deal with the conditions you have, make the best food you can, and we certainly did today. So if you're looking to grill up a turkey for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, or any other time of year, a really great way to do it, especially out on the Weber Kettle or a charcoal grill, is to spatchcock it. Get even cooking all the way across, simple rub, simple glaze, and you're going to end up with a bird everyone's going to love.